Great, so wonderful to be here and happy to answer many of the high-level questions. I'm happy to say many of the people who really know all the low-level questions are also here. So if you ask about the last bit and byte, I may refer you to all the experts also here in the audience who actually built SCION and who really know every little detail. So it's really an amazing system once you look under the hood and see how it works. So with that, I'm happy to, again, have the opportunity to speak to you. And we've really achieved a tremendous amount of achievements over the last years, especially with SSFN and a lot of networks starting to make use of SCION today. So seeing SCION in active operation and seeing how it works, actually our ambition has grown. Because SCION has been operating very well. In many cases, actually, the performance and the results were better than we even anticipated. And so we started having the ambition that SCION could really be used by everyone, on every cell phone, by every application, operating side by side with IPv4 and IPv6, simply being a third option. Enabling an application that wants to achieve some property. It could be that one of the SCION paths allows you to achieve this property and essentially then provide a better quality of communication than IP4, IPv6. In many cases, however, IP4 and IP6 obviously work well, so then by all means use those. But SCION, we believe, is a useful additional system that then gives you additional properties. So this talk is titled Reaching Escape Velocity, and as probably most of you know, escape velocity refers to the speed of a rocket. Actually, I should go to the next slide. So the speed that a rocket needs to achieve to escape or to overcome the gravity of Earth to make it out into space. And similarly, we anticipate that SCION also is speeding up. And with escape velocity, we mean that SCION would make it to really becoming the third way to communicate besides IP4 and IPv6 in the global internet ecosystem. So with that, let me get started with the talk. And just very briefly, SCION can offer many benefits. Besides security and stability, also provide improved control, transparency for your communication, but also protections that are built in against DDoS attacks. And in some cases also, because SCION is multipath, there's a good chance many times that one of those paths also has better performance based on either latency or bandwidth or jitter and so on. So SCION has a number of benefits. And so with this you can say, well, why don't we all have it, right? Why is it not everywhere already if it's so good? And we've noticed over the last 15 years working on this project, there are many dependency loops that make it very challenging to deploy new internet architectures. And this slide shows some of these dependency loops. For instance, an ISP only wants to deploy, and that's what Nicola was saying in the beginning, also only if there's customers wanting the technology, and the customers, they depend on the offering by ISPs. And similarly, there are dependency loops for standardization, network hardware support, application support, and so on and so forth. And this makes it really challenging to roll out a new communication technology. So we're hugely indebted to the Secure Swiss Finance Network, the SSFN, that has allowed SCION to break out and escape many of these dependency loops, and as a result, produce a production network that continues to grow, not just in Switzerland and Europe, but really worldwide. And what's really exciting is that this network is really a BGP-free global communication network. It's not an overlay that also has similar faults as BGP, so it's really fault independent with BGP. So there's a good chance, if today's BGP internet stops operating, that the SCION network is actually not affected. So we now also, and we've seen this also in past SCION days, the Secure Swiss Healthcare Network, that further helps and spreads the technology, makes a lot of use cases of this technology in the healthcare ecosystem. And in healthcare, one of the big challenges are that many doctors' offices use small or almost domestic internet connectivity. They're not all large institutions. And how do you secure 50,000 doctors across the country? The answer is a system called the Anapaya Gate. That's a system that runs in the ISPs that then convert standard IP traffic into SCION traffic without any changes by the end users, either software or hardware changes. So in a way, it's completely transparent, but you get the protections once the packet then is transformed into the SCION packet to be delivered to the destination. So thanks to these use cases, the SCION ecosystem has been growing, and a lot of entities are using SCION in production, and a lot of entities are using it in research and education as well. We're working on that, on those use cases. So with this, you could say, well, surely we can reach escape velocity. However, so far, most of the uses of SCION, there's a translation technology involved that converts an IP packet into a SCION packet in a way the application doesn't have to change. And one of the observations is that we probably need more to reach through this escape velocity so that everyone can benefit from SCION on any application or any system they're using. So the way to attempting to reach escape velocity is through a virtuous cycle to break these dependency loops. And this virtual cycle observes that when you have an application that can send SCION packets natively, then the amount of SCION traffic on the networks increases. Then ISPs see the traffic. They will then want to also deploy SCION because there will be traffic, which then increased ISP support again results in more users that can use SCION connectivity if they have the application, of course, using SCION. And this, in turn, with more users, more applications have a benefit to build in SCION directly into the application. So with this virtuous cycle, we believe the usage of SCION will be self-propelling and will speed up the dissemination. So how do we get started, though, with this cycle? So how do we get to a first large number of users with native SCION connectivity? So in Switzerland, all the users can make use of SCION through dedicated SCION connectivity from the ISPs. However, we envision SCION to be present, like here on the ETH campus. If you have a SCION application, it automatically just works. So you can immediately start sending a SCION packet. There's a bootstrapping process, and it can make use of the network directly from your cell phone or from your laptop when you're here at ETH using our infrastructure. So we're trying to see how can we roll this out further and further so that more and more users have native SCION connectivity. And what we've seen is the observations that we can make use of the global education networks. There's many students at many universities. So when we SCION enable a university, we can get 50,000 students and staff, faculty that then have native SCION connectivity. So we've rolled this out, and we're currently at about 250,000 users worldwide that have native SCION access. And here you see a graph of how this looks like. This was mainly possible thanks to Switch, SCION, and a network called Creonet in Korea that forms a global ring around the world that provides SCION connectivity for many universities who are connecting at places where this Creonet ring is available with their SCION routers. So our goal next is to make SCION very easy to use. So now we actually today have on the order of 250,000 users worldwide with this native SCION connectivity. So we're trying to now create an ecosystem where everyone can very easily start making use of SCION. So imagine a student, for instance, at a university in Brazil with native SCION connectivity. They hear about it. They can sit down, download a piece of code, and make use of SCION today. And so this is what we're now trying to do to make it very, very easy for people to build SCION into their application directly make use of this ecosystem. So we have a bootstrapper mechanism that bootstraps the configuration parameters for SCION. And there's also software in Java and for many languages, such as Golang, to then build SCION applications. And you see here a link to a page called SCION Awesome that lists a lot of these tools to make use of SCION natively. So we created a web page that facilitates this process for anyone in the world at these universities to look, do I have SCION connectivity? And so on this website you can see this. And also making use of the applications that they can try out locally and try out SCION. So for instance, they can set it up on Linux and different operating systems, or run SCION ping or show paths. And this is really exciting. When you run these show paths, you can see there's all these different paths to different destinations in the world. We also wrote a packet inspector where you can access this web page from any IPv4, IPv6 based browser. And then when you send it a SCION packet to this address, you can see the packet details listed here. So this is very useful for debugging the network. And we also give the code. This may look complicated, but you essentially just copy this into your terminal, and you can yourself compile this SCION program to send the packet to this packet inspector. And so we believe that when people get started and see how easy it is to get started with SCION, they will continue and start experimenting with the technology and build it into applications. From last year, you may remember that we have had a project with Brave, and which is a Chrome. The Brave browser is a Chrome a clone that we can now run SCION from directly within Chrome or Brave. And you may have seen this demo where you can install this on the system. When you're here at ETH, for instance, the system automatically just can download and fetch websites through SCION directly. For instance, the ETH web page is available over the SCION network, and you can see which parts came over SCION and which parts came over the traditional internet. So also looking at the early days of IPv6, we were looking at what people did. Do I have IPv6 or not? And there was this dancing turtle that people would go to this website, and if the turtle was more clear, then you had IPv6, and it was kind of pixelated, you only had IPv4. So we thought, okay, great. What could we do with SCION? Let's make it a dancing gazelle. And we now have this web page that you can access. And so when you don't have SCION, you just have the static image. But then when you do have SCION, you get the actual dancing gazelle. So if this, you can figure out, do I have SCION connection or not? Right? And when you turn it off, you can see again the website offers the picture. So you can see over SCION, this also gives you the opportunity to provide content, different content over the SCION network than over standard IP. So another project, and there's a demo outside you can look at, is the Debuglet project for next generation debugging, network debugging. And this is a global infrastructure of servers that run small piece of code. So when you would do a trace route, actually a small piece of code gets sent to these Debuglet servers and gets executed. And we make use of the SWI blockchain to actually also pay for these executions, which may be just really negligible amounts of money, but it incentivizes a whole ecosystem to form, to create these servers to be set up. And again, there's a demo outside you can look at in the break. Also applications many entities are interested in is the Hercules file transfer and lightning filter. It's a firewall. And we envision also this ecosystem, people using these applications increasingly. So we can see the virtuous cycle with now 250,000 users. We anticipate having more and more applications building SCION in natively, which will increase the traffic and increase deployment, and then bring us to this escape velocity that we can then all make use of, and so that SCION is an alternative to IPv4, IPv6 that your application can select without perhaps even informing the user, right? So, and provide increased quality of communication for any application. We believe that once this process gets started, the competition between different applications will then fuel further adoption, right? If one application has an advantage by using SCION, then obviously other applications will follow and also build in this technology. And keeping fingers crossed, we hope, and with the help of everyone in this room, that we can get this started and hopefully have a secure global internet before the end of the decade. Thank you.